Hello and welcome back to A Liv Teixeira Productions. So we are officially back to doing daily episodes. During this quarantine, we're going to do them indefinitely for as long as this lasts. So holy shit, get ready. And that is going to be every single Monday through every single Friday, every single day. We'll be doing an episode now. The episodes, some of them will be on YouTube, which if you're seeing this, hello. Every single one of them will be on all major podcast streaming services. So iTunes, Spotify, the Apple, all that shebang. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about this quarantine and how it is affecting you as an individual. If you guys did not listen to that episode, go to that one first. If you're watching on YouTube, go to that audio first and listen to that. Yesterday, we really did begin to dive into kind of what's been going on with this quarantine and how you're doing in your relationships, how you're doing in your life, how you're doing career-wise, and really kind of like assessing. It was the self-assessment process of the quarantine. Where are you at? What are you currently doing? What are you happy with? What are you not happy with? Where are things going good? Where are things going bad, right? Kind of figuring out where all the puzzle pieces are. Today, I kind of want to get into what you want this quarantine to be. Now, I was just on another podcast and that kind of inspired this conversation to really happen. And that is the authentic goal setting. So when it comes to anything in life, but specifically this time of quarantine, since we're talking about it, it's like, what do you want? Not what does your family want? What do your parents want? What do your friends want? What does social media telling you to do? What are social norms telling you to do during this time? What do you want? Now, it's easier said than done for a few reasons, but one of them is it's much easier to just succumb to the pressure instead of standing out on your own. The second piece of that is it's actually challenging to figure out what those pieces of the puzzle are if you haven't ever dug into them. So with something like this, we are given an enormous amount of time. Whether you're working full-time, you're not working at all, or you're somewhere in the middle, you have more time now than ever to dive into these topics. Now, what we're talking about today, we wanna figure out what we want this time to be. Whether it's 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years. Hopefully it's not 3 years. But regardless, whatever this time frame is, what do you want this actually to be? What do you wanna produce during this time that makes quarantine a success? That's been the words that I've been using recently. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, it's ingrained in my brain. I think because success is so different person to person and it completely depends on you and what you want. But in regards to the quarantine, it's like, what will make this time successful to you? What will make this break, this pause, this investment successful to you? It's different for everyone. So basically, the beginning of that is figuring out what it is you want this to be. Now, I have career goals, I have finance goals, I have success goals, and I also have interest in hobby goals. And in regard to those, it's like, what are some of the things that you want to learn? What are some of the things that you want to master? What are some of the things that you're interested in that you just want to learn more information about? Like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go, okay, I'm gonna explain it and then I'm gonna go get it. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna see it. So, at the beginning of this quarantine, I wrote down some of the things, and this was just completely like freehanding some of the things that I wanted to create during this time, some of the things that I wanted to experience during this time, some of the things that I wanted to invest during this time. And I got clear by just writing out and just and truly taking like deep breaths, getting in the zone and being able to just write. I do it on poster board or like notebook paper or whatever, but really getting in the zone to say, what matters to me? What's important to me? Some of the questions that I literally asked myself were, what are those things that you consider one day activities? Like one day, learn a new language. One day I'm going to start a business. Like what are some of those one day activities, right? And what I didn't even realize was the fact that I had like in my podcast, if you guys are serious listeners, you know that I am so against the one day philosophy and the idea that one day things will change and I'll be able to make that trip or create that friendship or travel that place or invest in myself, my business, my personal development, whatever it is. I'm not a believer in that one day mentality, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you're avoiding things that you want to do, that you genuinely have interest in, that's gonna carry over into other areas of your life. So that's number one. What really got in my head, and this is like the second piece of the one day mentality, was I had a lot of things that I wanted to learn one day. Now, I didn't realize that this existed. I had no idea that like I was kind of going through it in my brain, going back and forth, but I had a lot of things that were one day. Like one day I wanted to learn this certain dance. One day I wanted to learn this certain language. One day I wanted to, like, even I know I talked about masterclass before. It's like one day I said, I want to learn a couple things on masterclass, just different courses from different people, things that I may not even do in my life, but I'm just interested in. And I didn't even realize that those were things that I was constantly pushing off. And like I say always, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So in regards to that, it's like you really have to assess the things that you're allowing yourself to not experience. And it's so important, because those things matter. Those collective emotions and experiences and things, that is what creates a good, happy, fulfilling life, is doing the things that you really want to do. So I'm gonna go get my little list and I'm gonna show it to the YouTube people, and then I'm going to explain it so that the audio people can also hear. Okay, so it's very challenging to see and read, so I will read it for you. But basically, for those that are just listening, I have a huge ass poster board split into 3 sections, right? 1, things that I want to do. These are action steps. These are things that I can kind of check the boxes for. 2, things that I want to learn. I don't need to be perfect in this. It's not a checking the box. It's something that I want to make progress on, which is important. And 3, things I want to give. These are some of the things that really matter to me in order to really support the people, especially during this quarantine. What are some of the things that I can give to my interpersonal relationships, to my clients, to the people that listen through all of these platforms of the podcast? So, things that I want to do. Here I have I have some webinar stuff. I have some coaching goals. I have some books that I want to read. I have my solo episode goals, and some of these have changed because this was at the very beginning of quarantine. Things that I want to do. I also wanted to invest in masterclass and just do a couple of the classes for fun. Some of the things that I wanted to learn, like I said, I have language stuff, I have dances, breath work, splits, certain marketing strategies, certain things about the economy and finance and money and investment. These are all things that I wanted to learn, but I never really gave myself that window of opportunity of just time to dive in. And then finally, and this one's honestly optional, you don't even need to do this, but I put in things that I want to give, especially during this quarantine. This is for the quarantine, right? I want to give peace of mind, introspection, togetherness, the feeling of community and support, love, perspective, honesty, authenticity, humor, laughs, hope, and positivity. So that's what I have on my list, and everybody is different, right? The real work here is to figure out what you want to do. And in order to do that, you really have to be laser focused on getting rid of all of the outside noise and the outside chatter from really a lot of the social media or any of the people that you see, your friends, your family, whatever, and figure out what are some of the things that you just selfishly want to learn and selfishly want to do. What areas do you want to make progress on? Like I said, this is a step-by-step process. You have to start with the self-awareness and figure out where you're currently at, where things are going good, where things are going bad, right? And then you're able to break it down to that next layer. And the next layer is, okay, with that being said, what are your goals? What do you want? Where do you see yourself in a few months or a few years or whatever the case may be? What is it that you want to create over this next 3 weeks, 3 months, however long this lasts? This is completely up to you. And that's the cool thing. That's where we really have the individual strength to create whatever it is that we want to create. And this is a place in your life where it's time to be selfish. I am such an advocate for being selfless 99% of the time. You guys know that. I care so deeply about people. But there are times and places to be extremely selfish, and this is one of them. This is your goals, this is your wants and your needs out of your life, and it is time to be completely selfish. So put that like selfish blinder type thing on and really go into these questions that we've gone over. Okay, sorry about those little beeps. That was my camera. But nonetheless, really ask yourself those deep, deep questions that are really going to paint the picture of what it is that you selfishly want, not just with this time, but also with your life in general. And like I always say, like knowledge and knowing and the self-awareness is the power. That is the clarity that you need. That is the focus that you need. That is the key in order to getting what you want is 1, self-awareness, 2, clarity of the actual goal at hand, and 3, the action step. And we will talk about the action step tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you that have listened thus far, whether it's YouTube or podcasting platforms. I'm really excited. I think that this quarantine everyday, season of daily episodes is gonna be the best yet. So I'm really excited. I have a lot of guests on the way. I also already have a lot of stuff stashed kind of in the safe of podcasting words. I don't know. But I'm super, super excited. And I just want to say thank you guys. Please keep tuning in. There's going to be so much information and so many amazing interviews. So I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.